You guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So sorry about that. My allergies have just been really kicking in, but welcome back, everybody. Um, we're now going to get into our third segment of Each One Teach One. And y'all know me, I think any type of self awareness or personal growth is so important. Um, again, uh, in this segment of Each One Teach One, like to go over how to manage personal growth. Now, it's a wonderful initiative to take on, being able to help people and just kind of give them information and insight on important things about themselves. That's the law. But a couple of things that I want to say that when it comes down to personal growth, some people might talk about or use the word self reflection, self awareness, but it's commitment to a positive change. And so today in the podcast, I'm just sharing with you a couple of things about personal growth because as when we you'll hear me speak more and more about personal growth and different things that I'll actually be assisting others with who pay for my service to help them with their personal growth. So as we go through this, I'm just sharing it with you because I think it's important that I be able to give you just as much information as I would someone, that I care about as well, because I feel like if I have it to share, then I don't mind sharing it with you. But one thing is we talk about self awareness, you know, it's a position to encourage individuals to explore your strengths and weaknesses as well, um, just values and beliefs overall. Some people don't show that they have good morals and values. I mean, seriously. And so when we talk about that, you have to evaluate those so that you know exactly what it is that you're living by, and what are you morally and soundly and justly trying to show here. Understanding yourself better lays a good foundation for personal growth. And so that's why I say that, because once you do that, you're able to see where you need to make changes if you're honest with yourself. You know, when you set goals, you help yourself to set clear and achievable things that you can do to make yourself feel proud of you. Because once you reach those goals, they'll provide direction for you and motivation in your personal development. So that's important. And I think it's great to make sure that we do these kinds of things, because a lot of people don't really think about it until it's too late, right? And of course, it just depends on how you learn. If you learn by going through things over and over again, well, that's going to be you hitting your head 1,000 times till you learn it. But technically, setting goals and trying to reach those, just because you don't reach them the first time doesn't mean that you failed specifically. It just means that you didn't succeed with that attempt. But sometimes failure is part of the process, right? And as long as you keep trying, you'll get there. Like they say, try and if try and try again. Well, gosh, if you don't succeed, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's it. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So anyway, that's what this is all about. In personal growth, you if you don't succeed the first time, you have to keep trying until you do. And that's just period. It's a continuous learning process for you, for me, for all of us. I can't emphasize enough the importance of a lifelong lesson that we have within ourselves. I say this to people quite often lately at how proud I have been of the woman that I've become, because there there was a glimpse of her, of the old person today, in that I was in the traffic, and so it really annoyed me, not that I was in the traffic, but I always felt like somebody was doing something to me. And sometimes that old habit can kick up and recur. And I'm not saying that the car in front of me isn't being mischievous, but that's their problem. It's not my problem. But what ends up happening is it gets to a point where it starts to annoy me severely. And so I'm giving in to what they really want to do. Now, in a situation like traffic, it's imperative that you regain your footing, because if you don't, you can end up in a wreck. And if you end up in a wreck, then basically, you know, you might be at fault. And that could cost you your insurance, your driver's license, a life, whatever. So you have to gain control. Now, I didn't lose control, but it does make you feel like you want to have road rage or be angry or whatever. And the funny thing was, there were some people that got into my Uber, and they were, occasionally you'll get people in your Uber that want to treat you like less than, and they were out in the Glendale area, and I don't particularly have problems wherever I go Uber, but occasionally if I've had any issues, that area did create them. And instead of me, being cognizant of the area that I was in and being aware of the fact that I may get a happy or a nasty customer, um, I wasn't. And somehow I got into a mode of, of discomfort prior to them getting in, which to me, I created that, you see. So where I help myself is, I feel I create my positives and I create my negatives. And so if I stay in a place where I know I'm creating a positive scenario, then everything coming to me is going to be a positive scenario. But prior to that, I went to get something to eat and had a bad experience, and I didn't let it go. And so, because I didn't let it go, I still was in that bad moment, and I created another one with these customers. And they were my last customers of the day. But not only did they make me late getting home to do what I love doing, my podcast, but they also put me in a bad mood this afternoon, where I wasn't able to smoothly transition into my podcast like I normally would. Everything was falling and things were knocking over, and then the cats were scratching me up, and it was just a lot going on. So, with that being said, I had to realize and be aware of where I was in my moment of discomfort, because it is a very uncomfortable process. It's a very uncomfortable time. It's a very uncomfortable outcome if you don't reset yourself. Now, granted, if I have been earlier in the day, the best way for me to reset myself is to lay down and take a nap. Because if you think about it, in adult life, we don't get to participate the way we do as an infant or a toddler. But when an infant or a toddler is having a bad day or a bad moment, they cry, they have a hissy fit, they have a temper tantrum, so on and so forth. And so, one thing, as an adult, we tend to have those exact same temper tantrums. It's just that we process them differently. We take it out on others. We get angry. We can't process the anger. We can't figure out how to get back to square one, because, we done messed up the process. Oh my gosh, kitty cat. No, come on already. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Now the kittens are going to be what they're going to be because that's all they know is to climb up and you have to redirect. And people say you can't train cats, but you can. I've done it. The reality is that they're harder because they're not going to listen to you because they just going to do what they want to do. But having said all of that, going through all of that, like I said, I learned one of the things about myself though is I learned how to reset faster. It's not going to ever be a moment where I'm not going to have to reset. Just like, this is a totally different topic, but one I don't want to go without saying. I do not believe that when people get baptized, once saved, always saved, like some people do tend to believe. When you get baptized, that doesn't exonerate you from sin, whether you believe it does or not. It doesn't. Because you still out here sleeping with people and not married. You might be sleeping with somebody's husband and think it's okay because he don't want to be there. Whatever the situation is, those are all sinful things. And you say you're baptized, but you're really not living by that because if you were, then you wouldn't be sinning. So same concept here in terms of your personal growth. We all go through certain things and we're going to continue to go through things. The ability to figure out how quick it is for you to get back on task is how fast do you reset in these moments. Are you resetting in a moment um, of a self-awareness when you're saying, oh yeah, I'm on 10, I need to get back on 1. you know I feel like a lot of times when we are on 10, um, that shows the maturity of us to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna be accountable. I'm gonna hold myself accountable for this because I did this. You know, I have a responsibility for my own growth journey. Is what you're on is a growth journey if you're really trying to help yourself. And I say this all the time because people get to the point where they get argumentative. You want to argue, you go to McDonald's, they didn't make your food right. You want to be mad at the person that didn't make your food right. Now, granted, they have a responsibility to do it correctly, but if they make a mistake, you know what I'm saying? It's a pass the first time. You don't need to cut somebody out just because they messed up. But what I can say is that there are occasions where you might slip up. Should you slip up, the part of your growth journey is to actually say, how am I gonna handle this? And then you progress from there. And at that point, you're basically on this journey to see if you're ready to grow or not. And if you're mentally and emotionally thriving and trying to do what you need to do, then you'll make the right transition in this. But with that being the case, with that being said, the reality is that this is a form of self-care. So in our process of self-care, it's important to emphasize that, our well-being as individuals need to take ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally strong enough so that we can thrive and strive to make these changes and improvements. But we have support and we have a community that creates support for our environment for individuals so that you can share experiences and also gain your knowledge and just lean on each other and feel free to be encouraged by your personal journeys. It's important to have self-reflection. If we have self-reflection, a lot of times self-reflection is one of those things that once you look at where you are, you have the exact moment of where you made the mistake. And hopefully you can fix that with that, pinpoint that the issue that you made. But if we set clear goals and learn continuously to embrace new experiences and develop growth in our mindset, then you can aspire and become a lot stronger in your personal growth. And again, this is a huge, huge step in making sure that you stay motivated to be strong enough to do the things that it takes to advance in your personal growth. And that's important. But just keep in mind that personal growth is a continuous journey in progress. It may not always be immediate or linear, you know. So just be patient with yourself and remember that every step forward counts. And by taking the steps that you need as an individual, you can embark on a fulfilling path of self discovery and development. And that's all I wish for you. So I'll be back with our last segment of Rep Your City in a moment. But this has been Each One Teach One. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon, but come back for the last segment. Thank you.